Welcome back to Dollars and Cents with Lindsay and Dennis. Today we're talking about one of Dennis's favorite topics, insurance.
Ooh, it's even better than budgets.
So Dennis, why don't you tell our audience what types of insurance do most people need, or the average person?
Well, the average person will typically have a home or an apartment, so they need homeowners insurance and apartment insurance. They may have a car. But one of the most important things or the aspects of insurance when it comes to financial planning is liability insurance. Your homeowner's policy provides liability insurance. Your automobile policy provides liability insurance. And it's important to have the correct amount of coverage. And here's why. I used to teach classes for the Massachusetts Financial Planning Association. It was called P&C for CFPs, How to Cover Your Clients' Assets. The most important thing I stressed is, even as a financial planner, if you do the best job developing a client's portfolio, they put enough money away for retirement, all of those things, one car accident or one injury at your home can wipe it out.
Exactly.
Just to give me a quick example, last week somebody hit my brother's car going 90 miles an hour on Route 395 in Connecticut. There are crazy people out there. Fortunately, he's not the crazy one, but had he been the one that had caused the accident, everything he owned could be at jeopardy. So that's why liability insurance is absolutely the most important thing to protect your financial plan.
That's right. And what's it worth to do all the hard work in building an investment portfolio and growing money if you can't take advantage of those things and you're just exposing yourself to such large risks? Does renter's insurance have liability too? You mentioned homeowners and auto.
Correct. Renter's insurance has liability, homeowners has liability, and another policy that comes into play is an umbrella policy. An umbrella policy is a liability policy that covers over and above your regular homeowner's insurance or your automobile insurance. It's often referred to as excess liability. And that's important because nowadays people would carry a standard $250,000 per person, $500,000 per accident liability policy for bodily injury. But with the cost of medicine and all those things, it's not enough. I mean, you think about this, that just going in the hospital for a few days can cost $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Imagine someone goes in for a week or two. Imagine they've lost income for 6 months. They have pain and suffering. That can get into the millions. We've had claims where one client called and said, oh, someone ran into them with their bicycle, but the insurance company paid out $500,000 to the bicyclist. So I'm not sure who ran into who. But $500,000 is a lot of money. You need to make sure you have adequate coverage for liability because it's serious business. Everything you own can be wiped out.
Absolutely. I'm sure through your years in the insurance industry, you've seen an uh-oh moment with a client that hasn't had umbrella insurance and the ramifications that they've faced financially.
Yes, absolutely. Fortunately, that hasn't happened to any of our customers. They've all been adequately covered because we've had claims from $500,000 to $2.25 million. And the funny thing about it is every one of those customers had never had an accident before. So people think it can't happen to them. Trust me, it can.
Wow, that's incredible. Can we talk about what are some of the proper coverage limits we should have on there? Is it necessary to have liability versus collision? You keep talking about liability, but what are some misconceptions?
So liability insurance covers damages you cause to another person, a third party. You damage their car, you injure them in an auto accident, you run into their building. We had a client that ran into somebody's restaurant about 3 years ago and put the people out of business. Several people sitting in the booths were injured. And here comes the lawyers and the lawsuits. So liability protects you from something you do to someone else. Collision covers your car for damage you do to the car. So you hit a tree, you hit a stone wall, your collision pays you for that coverage. And that's something that's important, but not as important as liability. If you lose a $25,000 car, yeah, that's bad, but it's not as bad as losing $500,000 or getting a lawsuit for $500,000 for a liability claim. So liability is absolutely the most important thing to cover.
Great, that's good. That's a good explanation of the comparison of the two. I'll never forget to starting to work here. A misconception that I've run into is that your refrigerator is not an insurance claim. So if you have a regular working refrigerator and then one day you wake up and it just decides not to work, you cannot call your insurance company and put in a claim for this.
Correct.
I don't think most people know that. I think that they think it can be done with insurance.
Well, you know the old saying, if somebody calls you up and says, my refrigerator's running, I go, well catch it. Okay, but I'm done.
All right, I'm going to change gears here a little bit and jump into another really important insurance that we recommend that most clients have, and that would be life insurance. So Dennis, what's the purpose of life insurance?
Life insurance. So life insurance, typically there are two types. There are what we call permanent insurance, which is whole life or universal life, and that type of insurance is a little bit more expensive because it also has a cash value. So as you pay your premiums, the policy actually accrues cash as well as a death benefit. Term insurance, it's strictly a death benefit. You die, they pay. Typically, we buy term insurance to cover our large debts. Term insurance is less expensive and allows you to purchase adequate coverage to protect your family.
Correct. So for income replacement, most Americans wouldn't be able to make it past 1 month if they lose their breadwinner in their home. Financially, they're unable to support themselves for longer than a month. So life insurance, especially term, is directed to help correct that loss of income. Another thing to know about life insurance is most people are covered by their employee's policy. There's something called group insurance. However, it's important to know that this is usually not enough coverage. It's not adequate. It's a $10,000 or $20,000 policy, maybe up to $50,000 because that's the deductible limit for your employer. But again, $50,000 is not going to get you far these days in terms of how expensive things are, and with inflation at the high rate that it's at, that will be gone quickly.
Plus, if you leave your employment, your insurance goes. So it's always best to have your own policy to take care of yourself and your family and have an adequate amount. If you don't know how much you need, you can simply talk to a financial planner, a good life insurance agent. They should be able to help you pick out a limit that's adequate for you.
Absolutely. So having these proper insurance coverages really are going to help set yourself up not only for the unfortunate event that you might face later down the road, that of course we hope doesn't happen to you, but it's also protecting your assets that we're looking to help build and grow for you in your future. So Dennis, since insurance is one of your favorite topics, is there anything else you want to share with the group about insurance?
Here's something people don't realize. A lot of times people will graduate college and they decide, hey, I want to go live in the big city. I don't need a car, so I don't have any car exposure. But what they don't realize is if they get a zip car or they go on vacation and they rent a car,
or they grab their friends.
or they grab their friend's car, you don't know what kind of liability coverage that person has. You smash the car up and injure somebody, you could be jeopardizing your entire future.
Are there options if I wanted to be able to have coverage in these instances without having to pay my monthly car insurance bill?
You can get extended non-owned auto. It covers a car you rent or a car you borrow and protects you, and that way you know what limit you have.
All right, sounds great. So making sure that you have proper insurance is going to go a long way when it comes to your financial plan. As always, feel free to give us a call today. We're here to help with all your financial and insurance needs. Until next time.